Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on the Cycling Dane Extra channel. If you're listening to the Cycling Dane podcast, today is our first one of winter. I know it's technically autumn, but I mean, oh my goodness, it's getting cold and dark. I mean, Patrick, you're sitting in Yorkshire. How's the riding been?
You know, it hasn't actually been that bad. It's been very windy. It's very windy today, actually. Just looking outside, all the trees have been stripped of leaves. But you're right, it is kind of technically autumn. However, when I took my sort of autumnal bike out on a group ride the other day, my friend was not impressed. He was like, "Where are the mud guards?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, maybe you are right. Maybe it's kind of more winter time." But I don't know. We've just crept over into November now, and it's sort of like the cross is on the TV as well. I mean, I don't know. Do you watch the cross? Van Tornout, Noonhouse? Do you just try and like blank out everything in the winter, cycling wise, to try and like recuperate the enthusiasm?
I really tried to watch it. I was waiting for the Track Champions League as well, but that's not happening. I'm waiting for the demigod himself to come back on the cross bike, Macho Van der Poel, but I think that'll take a while. But we're not talking about any of that. Today, we're talking about Tadej Pogacar and his 2026 schedule because drips and drabs have been coming out about what could potentially be his 2026 schedule. Yeah, Patrick, a bit more optimistic than looking at the weather forecast. If we're realistic, Pogacar last year, or this year technically, a very interesting season, very successful. I mean, 50 race days in total, was the world champion as we know, 20 wins, won the Tour de France, did all the 5 monuments, countless victories all over the place, even winning 2 monuments as well. 3 monuments, let's get that right, Flanders, Lombardia and Liège, and Strade Bianche as well. Patrick, what did you think of his 2025 season? Anything missing in it? Could that have been a few more days to that 50 days?
Yeah, 50 days doesn't seem that much for a riders who definitely do more. Like Del Toro did 72, 73, something like that, which, considering that he's younger than Pogacar, you almost think doesn't really make sense because you'd think that a younger rider would do less. But I think the key thing with Pogacar is that there was no like filler races, let's put it that way. Everything was, you were in top form, it's a super top level race, all the Cobble Classics, or like UAE Tour, Dauphine, Ardennes, the Tour, even like the one-day races after the Tour. It was like, you know, world champs, European champs. Tadej Pogacar was like his only real warm-up for Lombardia. You could say that he, you know, probably could have had some more race days in there, but I think that given just the intensity of the races that he was going in for, maybe that's just not possible. When you look back of the race days of his other years, it was like 58 in 2024, then 49, 54, 61, 43, 62. So it's still in that ballpark figure, I'd say. And I think the main talk that we're going to be getting into is almost which elements are going to have to almost go, because there's kind of talk of him being quite tired towards the end of the season, or specifically in the last week of the Tour, and was that because of all the Cobble Classics, and almost some of those might have to be removed in place of other things.
I mean, just the travel okay, he had that break between the Canadian races and the Tour de France, but from Canada to the Europeans, it was like Canada, Rwanda, they're not very close, then to France, that was, and then to Italy again. So it's quite a hectic few weeks, and Pogacar winning everything. But I mean, we've seen him start at the UAE Tour many times. Rumors are here that he is going to be starting, or wants to start, in the Tour Down Under, something he hasn't done since 2019, his Neo-Pro season. And what do you make of that, Patrick? I mean, UAE won that with Narvaez this year. Obviously, Pogacar would be going there to try and win it. I'm not even sure if a world champion has won that race, if I'm honest, because it's so early on. And what ramifications does choosing that, and do you think he should go there?
I think it's a really interesting choice, actually. And maybe it's a part of the Pogacar bingo card, where it's trying to knock off all of those World Tour level stage race wins. Because what is there left to go as well? Romandy, Tour de Suisse. There must be something else in there.
Tour of Guangxi.
Oh my word. Pogacar's got to go to Guangxi at some point in his career. So maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just the vibes. I don't really know.
Benelux.
Yeah. Or whatever it's called. Renew Wide, an Eco. But for those interested, Pogacar, yes, like you say, he did start in 2019, his neo-pro season. But in terms of where he's started the last few years, obviously this year was at the UAE Tour. In 2024, it was Strade Bianche was his first race. 2023, it was the Classica Jaén. Then he went to like Ruta del Sol. 2022, he started with the UE Tour. So he definitely gets that sort of early season February race in by the looks of things. The latest start was that Strade Bianche being his first race. So a January start is definitely a little bit earlier and doesn't quite match with the whole getting tired throughout the season and race days and trying to cut down on race days. But I suppose it's just UE Tour is bumped out, I would guess. And then the Tour Down Under would be in place of that because I don't see him doing both of those. Do you?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if we look at next year's calendar, I don't think that kind of fits. Well, I think it could work, but does he want to do that? I mean, it finishes on the 25th and the UAE Tour starts on the 16th. So, I mean, there's ample time to do them both. And then it runs into the classic seasons after that with Omloop. And I presume he would go to Strade Bianche. Maybe he gives that a miss for a year.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's definitely possible to do the Tour Down Under then the UE Tour. And it's the whole thing of the UE Tour, and he is the UE Team Emirates sort of big statesman rider. And almost, you don't know contractually what he might be having to do. But UE have got such a plethora of talent that they could send somebody else down and probably win it. But I think it's probably quite important for them to win their home race. Yeah, I guess the UE Tour, it's also, from a fatigue perspective, it sort of doesn't seem that it would be that bad because it's just some really easy sprint days and then like 2 mountaintop finishes. And I feel like Pogacar on pretty minimal training would probably win that anyway. So maybe he could do both of those, but I think then it's that accumulated of, okay, then it's like 2 weeks and then it's Strade. I don't think he'd miss that. I think he seems to quite like it as a race, but I think it is this spring period that we're going to be focusing on in terms of what's going to be sort of jettisoned out, because I think there's a lot of preparation and also quite a bit of risk. Like the team managers definitely have their own little reservations about Pogacar doing some of the cobble races because of the risk involved ahead of obviously the Tour de France, which is the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're probably counting out Omloop for sure. Strada, potentially maybe. Cadel Evans' Great Ocean Road Race could even be on the cards if he is down in Australia. Paris-Nice, Terreno Adriatico. Do you think he's going to give those two a miss?
Yeah, I don't think that he'll do one of those and then do Cobble Classics. We didn't see that this year, and it seemed to work out fine.
What about Vuelta? Well, before that, Milan San Remo and then Vuelta Catalunya. The only reason I'm thinking about Vuelta Catalunya is because it's part of the Grand Depart in the Tour de France, and Milan San Remo is obviously his bogey monument because he's tried so many times to win it, been on the podium, but not won it yet. That finishes on the 21st, and then you have to get to Catalonia on the 23rd. So do you think you would do that?
Nah, I don't think so. Because then you're going to have Flanders pretty soon after that, aren't you? But I do get what you mean. I think it's a good point about the tour starting in Barcelona and just racing around that Montjuic Castle circuit will be really important, but he has also done it before, back in like 2023, something like that. So it's not like he's unfamiliar with that circuit. So I don't think it would be a necessity for him to go there, but it wouldn't surprise me if we did see it happen. But I think so close to Flanders, which I think will be something he wants to do. And I think he will want to do Milano San Remo because he hasn't won that yet. Well, I don't know. Will he do Flanders? He has won it twice. He's more likely to win Flanders, but he's missing Roubaix. Would it almost just be better to skip Flanders and just do Roubaix if he's really concerned about fatigue and race days and stuff like that?
I think he also just wants to get his name higher up in the all-time winning list in Tour of Flanders, and I think he mentioned something like racing in Flanders is something second to none because of the fans being so amazing. I mean, the article we saw was that in this sprint classic, what they were alluding to, he's going to miss is Paris-Roubaix and then Amstel Gold. Amstel Gold, he has won before. Paris-Roubaix, no, obviously. And I mean, that would allude that Tour of Flanders is on the map. Liège, Boston-Liège, Flèche Wallonne, maybe even.
Yeah, I think if he removes Roubaix and Amstel Gold Race, will he do La Flèche Wallonne, or is it just going to be the absolute highlights of Stade, Milano San Remo, Flanders, and then Liège? Sounds a bit insulting to say like La Flèche Wallonne is some sort of second tier race, but Pogacar has won that this year, and is that of importance to him? If he's sort of already in the area, is it just a good tune-up race anyway? So, like, he may as well be there. But yeah, it's interesting when you think about missing Amstel, I suppose, although that's what the reports say. Maybe it's just because he came second this year and he's like, oh, you know what? Just, I don't care anymore. I've won it once. Why am I going and doing two warm up races for Liège? Which I can understand because it's probably perhaps a bit too much.
Yeah, more risk as well, as always with every race day. But yeah, I think you're right with Catalonia. That's probably dropped as well. So we kind of agree with that. Tour Basque Country not happening. Of course, that's a race he hasn't won either. We also saw speculation whether he's gonna go for the Giro again. What do you make of that? Of course, the Giro normally pays quite handsomely to get big names into the race. We saw that with Peter Sagan, with Froome, and I think Pogacar as well. An appearance fee. Yeah, for them, having a world champion at the race would obviously elevate the race again. We saw it in 2024. Yeah, what do you think?
I don't know, because I see reports saying that they're going to go with Del Toro again
Well, there we go.
for the Giro. I'm not sure if it would make sense for Pogacar to do the Giro. I don't think it works him doing the core classics, then the Ardennes into the Giro. I think we're going to get some month recovery and then into the Tour. And with the talk of him, wanting to, save his legs and not build up too much fatigue, doing another Grand Tour in the season just does not compete with that logic. So I would hang my hat on the peg of he's not going to do the Giro d'Italia, and that will instead go to Del Toro. And I think that makes sense because UAE have got so many good GC riders that sending their main man to two Grand Tours is just a bit unnecessary, I would say, considering that all the other big races we're already saying he's going to have done in the season so far. Why not give Del Toro another crack at the Giro, because he was very good this year?
No, yeah, for sure. You're right. Or maybe they swap it and Almeida goes there and Del Toro gets the Vuelta, you never know. So I think we're both agree that no Giro d'Italia. Then we continue into kind of, is he going to the Copenhagen Sprint? Probably not. He's going to have that big gap then between probably end of Liège all the way to, you would assume, what is now renamed the Dauphiné is no more. It's this other thing, which is like, why, guys? It's the Tour Auvergne. I don't even know. But they renamed it. We used to have Criterium du Dauphiné. We used to have Dauphiné Libre, Criterium du Dauphiné, and now it's whatever this is. Why the name change? I'm not quite sure. But do you think he's going to go there, or is he going to go to the Tour de Suisse?
I think he would logically go to. I'm still calling it the Dauphiné. I think he'd logically still go to the Dauphiné, but if there is this thing of him wanting to win all the World Tour level races, then this would be a good opportunity for him to go to the Tour de Suisse and probably just pick that up relatively easily. So I don't see any reason why he wouldn't go to the Tour de Suisse, to be honest with you. I think that both races are very good warm-up races, and he could honestly go with either of them. I don't think it matters that much.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe facing Jonas at the Dauphiné and getting a bit of a look in as to how you're matching up.
Just getting a punch in early.
Yeah, like this year. I think it wasn't just a jab, it was like it's a knockout already.
Yeah, true. That was pretty devastating.
It was. The writing was already on the wall before the tour even started this year.
Obviously, the Tour a given, even though there were reports that, he's going to be missing the Tour. Obviously, that's never going to be allowed, especially when you're the world champion and defending. If he does win, this would be his 5th win, and add him to that very illustrious group of riders who's won 5 in total. So maybe that could be a historic tour for the Slovenian after that. What do you kind of see on his agenda there? Wait, isn't it a World Cup year? So they've shifted the Tour de France, I can't remember, a week or so because of football, which, I mean, who cares about the football?
Yeah,
They should shift the World Cup for the Tour.
Yeah, based on the Tour. Yeah.
Put it in December like last time.
Yeah, exactly. You got to think about us. Don't think about the priority sport that most people in the world watch. Anyway, what will Pogacar do post-tour? I think realistically it'll be quite similar to this year. And I think it's actually more convenient. He'll probably do Quebec, Montreal, and then just stick around because the World Champs is in Canada as well. So that just really helps out. And then I think it'll be European champs because those are in Slovenia next year. So I think he'll want to go and defend his European champ bands in his home nation. That just makes a lot of sense. And then it'll be Lombardia to try and break away from the joint record with him and Coppi into just a Pogacar, or would it be like 5 in a row? 6 in a row. I can't remember. It's so many in a row. And maybe there'll be a Trevade Vallecine or something as a warm-up race in the midst of that as well. I think it'll be fairly similar to this year. I don't see why they'd change that too much. Because what else would he do? Like Rennes Tour, maybe, to try and pick up another one? I think the World Champs is just too important. Where Rennes Tour ends on the 23rd of August, and then the Canadian races start on the 11th of September. It's like 2 weeks later. It could be possible that he does the Rennes Tour, I suppose, but I don't see why they'd really put on that extra fatigue post-tour when the World Champs is coming up.
Yeah, it definitely seems very manageable compared to what he's already done, what we've kind of outlined here. One thing I would ask then, what is missing from this? Obviously, the big red elephant in the room is the La Vuelta a España, which is starting in Monaco. So that was seen as like, please start our race, Pogacar, because obviously he's lives in Monaco. Maybe Carlos Sainz will start the race as well. Valtteri Bottas, they all live in Monaco. Yeah, the Vuelta, obviously, he hasn't been there since 2019. Do you see that as feasible with the Canadian races, with all these extra things?
Well, given that the Vuelta next year finishes on the 11th of September and the GP Quebec starts on the 11th of September, something tells me that those two don't work very well together. Yes, I get what you mean, though. It's starting in Monaco. They are desperately trying to get Pogacar on the start list, but it's sort of... I think the problem is mixing the Vuelta with the World Champs, because I think Pogacar really cares about World Championships. And so long as the World Champs course suits Pogacar, he will favour a optimal World Champ build-up as opposed to a Vuelta a España into World Champs, because I just don't think those two work very well together. And I think that the next World Champs is like Montreal, and there's one in the Alps, and then I think the one after that, which is flat, but it's in the UAE. So who knows whether he might go there just because of the team that he's on. Even though I know it's national teams, but trade teams and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe 2028 you might see Pogacar go to the Vuelta, get it penciled in already. But I don't see it working out this year with the World Champs being in Canada and the Canadian races starting on the same date as the Vuelta finishing. I just don't see that working.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is very logical reasoning as well. I think you should get Tour of Hongrie, just tick it off, and then it's over. Then that's it. We don't need to think about that race for Pogacar anymore. I don't think he's going to that. But imagine what that would do for Chinese cycling. That's what we want. But I mean, Patrick, no Tour Britain, no anything else. I think you've lined it out really, really well how it's going to be. So yeah, I think that's basically it for this video of our little prediction of the Pogacar schedule. Obviously, we'll come back when it's confirmed, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Smash the like button, comment down below if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And why not check out Patrick's own channel, I'll Do Cycling, currently in winter hibernation, but it'll be back soon. And of course, as always, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.